This episode, we look at a film that pissed off the Philippine government, made Gerald Butler weep, and features a subplot so forgettable, I've had to record this intro 6 times because I keep forgetting... Wait, what was I saying? Fuck! All this, and Mark contemplates the ability to choke out someone. I'm serious. He actually... All this and more on the latest episode of Written Off. Welcome to Written Off. Hey, how are you going? How are you doing? Now tell me. Be honest. Was it a bit of a shit week? It was, wasn't it? Oh, damn it. Did you do it? Did you eat that thing that you knew you shouldn't have? Wait, did you buy that thing you know you're never going to use? Wait, did you go on a date with that person you know you're not going to date? Well, things couldn't get worse, could they? Well, you're wrong, because you're listening to Written Off, a podcast all about movies that maybe kinda, sorta could have been better. Every episode, myself and my deliciously sexy co-host, we sit around and we brazenly suggest ways those films could have been better. My name's Bradley Freeman. Happy to have you with us. We most certainly are. We, you say? Well, it's time I introduced the other half of this awesome duo, Mark Tasker. How are you doing?
I'm all right. The sun is shining. It was -4 when I woke up this morning. So now we've got the very British battle against condensation. It's probably the same down where you live, isn't it? Generally, the buildings here are old. So that's my battle now. I've got to go and try and sort out the mold today. So that's fun.
Right off the bat, a fascinating topic for us to talk about. This is going to go down in the old-time history books of amazing podcast intros. When I was growing up, we grew up in a government housing. I remember it was my job as a wee little boy to get a big, thick towel, wipe the windows, and the towel was...
sopping wet, yeah. I think, in spite of what I suspect may have been sarcasm, a lot of people, this will resonate with a lot of people. And then that towel never gets dry again, does it?
Never.
It never gets dry again. That's something Stephen King should have written about. It's remorseless.
Yes, the moistening. The moistening!
A lot of people have got a problem with the word moist, haven't they? I know that. Personally, anybody listening, my least favorite word is the word flange, just so you know.
How about a phlegmy flange that's moist?
Yeah, horrendous. Absolutely horrendous.
What have you been watching recently, sir? What have you seen that's been... Oh, I can't wait to talk about this on Written Off with my mates.
Nothing.
Well, there you have it, mates. Another fantastic episode of Written Off. We'll catch you next time. Bye! Wait, no, seriously. Nothing? Fuck!
I'm still wading my way through Salem's Lot. I had
the book, right? You're wading through the book.
Wading through the book, yeah. And I say wading. That verb's a bit too negative. I'm in part 3, so I believe I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. And you?
I watched an action movie on Amazon Prime last night, made for streaming, called The Wrecking Crew, starring Dave Bautista and Jason Momoa. I've seen probably 20, maybe 25 made-for-streaming movies in my lifetime. And I know there's a whole bunch more, but just the made-for-streaming movies that I see, they're always the same in that they've got these big budgets. You'd assume the creative people behind the scenes would produce this amazingly unrestrained, hugely creative juggernaut free from the studio system. But what you get are these, unfortunately, lower than movies. They're so forgettable. They've got this lack of a pulse that I can't really define. Case in point, The Wrecking Crew. You can tell everyone on screen is game. Jason Momoa willed this movie into existence, but it just kind of flops about. It's at once too violent, but then not cartoony and silly enough. Or it's really, really serious, but not clearly defined what the stakes are. There's yet another big middle action set piece that comes out of nowhere, doesn't match the rest of the film, and is a bloated CGI mess in which the actors were clearly filmed against some kind of green screen or blue screen. I feel bad because I have a soft spot for any TV show or movie set in Hawaii. I love it. I've been there many, many times, and I hope to go back soon in the future. Just anytime I see that place on screen, I'm happy. And this was great because not only was it filmed on location in Hawaii, but it was also filmed in New Zealand a bit too. So hey, double dipping there. But just as with a lot of streaming movies, I'm struggling to remember what happened or why it happened or why I should even care. But enough of that. Let's get into our movie proper. We're talking about the 2003. No, we're not. We're talking about the 2023 movie Plane.
It's incredible. It's 2023. I can see why you said 2003.
Directed by Jean-Francois Richet from a screenplay by Charles Cumming and J.P. Davis. Now, this movie, folks, if you haven't seen it, is all about pilot Brodie Torrance allies with prisoner Louis Gaspar to save his passengers from a hostile territory after making an emergency landing in the titular vehicle, the plane.
You really, for a split second there, I thought you did the old Japanese thing of getting the R's and L's confused. I honestly thought I heard the word pirate, and I was really panicking that I'd watched the wrong film. And that this is not fake. Brad can see me. I'm already looking at Wikipedia like, shit, have I watched the wrong film?
No, it's late where I am and I start to slur my words. That's
No. It's just me thinking shit. And then when you read out, Louis Gaspar, I didn't realize that was his name. So again, I was panicking on two fronts.
Throughout the whole movie, I just called each character Captain and Convict. Captain Convict. And that's not a knock on the acting. It's just, there's your second in command. There's the bad guy. There's the head bad guy. There is the angry American passenger who can't seem to understand that his life was saved.
I just realized, anyone who's ever listened to this before realized I do no research whatsoever. And I have got one little line today, but looking at Wikipedia.
Oh, here we go.
Charles Cumming is an Eton-educated author who writes a lot of spy novels, doesn't he? Recently, he's taken to writing all of his book titles in caps. His last three are Box 88, Judas 62, and Kennedy 35. But yeah, I don't know much about Mr. Cumming, but if he went to Eton, I obviously hate him. So I now feel even more emboldened to be really nasty about this film.
Let me talk about Jean-Francois.
Please do.
He is the director of the Assault on Precinct 13 remake from 2005. Which you may or may not have seen, starring Ethan Hawke and one Larry Fishburne, as well as Bloodfather, starring Mel Gibson. I tell you what, he must have enjoyed making Plane because the writer, the sub-writer, the additional writer, the co-screenwriter of Plane, Mr. J.P. Davis, they're making another movie together called Mutiny.
So I'm just seeing at the same time.
Starring the man that I wish was in this one Jason Statham.
Come on. Yeah, so I see. And that's going to be made... or I'm assuming it's been filmed. Unfortunately, Mr. Cumming has not been invited to come back, has he, for that one?
Well, he's probably writing a book, so,
He's probably busy lording it up over the peons. Sorry, I'll stop talking politics. I'm always so curious looking at the cast and looking at the people that put this together. Shot in Puerto Rico, but of course... we'll talk about the Philippines because it's incredibly mean to the Philippines.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yes.
Okay. That's summary over, is it? That was it.
That was it because there's not much to the film. So what does work actually?
Oh, we're straight in, are we?
Straight in. We're going to raw dog this. Look, to start off, I think script-wise, the front section of this movie works.
Agree.
I have to say, you feel like you're on a plane with the captain. And I think for most of the mates listening, certainly me, I've never been in a cockpit before. I've never, ever been anywhere near a cockpit. They would shoot me before I would get anywhere near such an area. So it was great being able to, quote unquote, sit in a cockpit with a captain and co-pilot and see what it's like from their point of view as they take off. See how they just introduce each other and go through the rigmarole of how to start a flight.
I would have been more than happy for an hour and a half of those, the pilot and co-pilot just sort of doing what they do on a flight. I could imagine some experimental filmmaker being, let's just do that. And actually, I do think they've got a bit of chemistry, those two. I was quite sad that they just didn't really bother with that once we get to the shooty bit. I said to you, and I messaged you, I don't know if I'd finished watching it, but I quite like Butler in it. And I think him and his co-star.
This is Yoson An, who is a Chinese New Zealand actor.
What is he really?
So what you're hearing is the Kiwi accent. I know everyone who listens to this podcast, you're like, what the fuck is up with Brad's accent? Is he fucking speaking Kiwi or is it some weird bullshit American? No one fucking knows, not even myself. But this guy, apparently, yeah, he was raised in New Zealand. Good on him.
I think he's good. He's not given enough, obviously. But that, as you pinpoint, and I 100% agree, that first bit, yeah, I think it does it pretty well. I will quickly add, though, an old man thing I usually say to young people is before 9/11, kids could go into the cockpit and blah, blah, blah. And so I have seen, I've never actually bothered, but I did see into the cockpit a couple of times when the more precocious kids were like, Daddy, can I go in the cockpit?
Jealous. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, I was probably 9 or 10 at the time, so of course I didn't appreciate it. But yeah, obviously it sets up the dynamic with the daughter, which I didn't really need. But anyway, whatever, stakes. I get it why they've done it. They've set the time quite right. We're New Year. That's why there's not many people on the plane. Bit of a shitty airline. We won't really say that. It will just kind of be implied later. They do more explicitly say it. Although I will say, for a shitty airline, they really, really have thought about how to deal with terrorists. Like, there's no government. I don't think there's any government involvement. It's the airline itself has all of these people.
The mercenaries.
What the fuck? Is that normal? It's incredible.
We're getting ahead of things. Talking about the mercs.
It's such a left turn, isn't it? Anyway.
I think the lightning strike is quite frightening. There's decent baiting between the two leads, between the captain and the convict, between Butler and Mike Coulter. You can guess what's going to happen, but the movie plays it straight, not going for any comedy or anything, which kind of sort of hurts it.
Maybe.
I went into this film completely blind. I'm a huge action movie fan. I had heard on the interwebs, here's a good action movie. Here's something fresh and cool. I was like, oh, fresh and cool. I'll give it a go. I want to fucking kill the interwebs because this movie is not what they promised me. But I went in assuming this was going to be a movie set on a plane for the duration.
Yeah.
Did not get that. But all the plane stuff, the first half, the first quarter and a bit, I think is good. I especially like the problem solving. The weather is bad. Okay, they communicate. The two pilots communicate. We're going to rise above it. Okay, can't talk to the airline company or try and do this. Oh, we're hit by lightning. Purge the engine or whatever they do. No power. Okay, time the fuel lift. That really interested me. Like, it's smart people, good at their job, just working things out without the need for bombastic Hollywood. Oh my God. And then there's a fucking monkey on the wing and Jesus. And it's just like, you could tell both characters are very concerned. I like that they cut back to the cabin crew who are getting increasingly more concerned. So it all works, that part at least.
As the kids say, no notes. I agree with you 100%. And I was quite engaged. I won't pretend I wasn't. I was quite engaged. And I think the pacing of it is pretty good. The way, I mean, one of the later criticisms is like, you don't get to know the basically extras and too many of them and then not enough of them. We'll talk about that later. Whatever, I give a fuck about them anyway. So I think that actually spending time with the pilot and co-pilot and their interaction with the lead cabin crew member, I actually did kind of get into it. I was a little bit confused like you. Oh, they've crashed. Hang on, how long have we had? Oh, we've only had 30 minutes. Oh shit, what are we going to do now?
Did you find the crash also weird? Like, oh, here we go. Oh shit. Oh, and then land. Oh shit. Stop.
Yeah.
Oh, they're okay. There wasn't any and release. It was just like, oh, that stopped.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I haven't seen that film about Sully Sullenberger.
What the fuck?
Isn't that his name?
Sully, you mean the Tom Hanks movie, Sully?
I thought, to be honest, not knowing much about aviation,
Or Tom Hanks movies.
but what he did his job. Like I didn't really get why the guy was being lauded as the world's greatest hero. I'm like, he did his job and he wasn't even very high up. Wow, if that guy's being lauded as a hero, if there's any kind of accident in the sky, we are dead immediately because they were like 20 meters up. I'm like, I've seen Indy land in a bloody inflatable from 100. That guy, if that's the benchmark, then maybe we shouldn't be flying. So when I watched this, I thought, yeah, they're probably reacting. Yeah, if I'm a pilot, I might be picking it apart, but I didn't really feel so. They lose communication, and would that happen like that? I don't know. Would other things kick in? I don't know. Don't really care because within the film itself, I'm happy with it. Plays it straight. The guy's shacked up with Coulter. I don't really care as much about that, funnily enough, which is a shame because that's the whole film. But honestly, was quite into it for half an hour.
This film, it creates one of my favorite pet peeves because it's presented so factually or honestly. It makes me either pause it or while the film is playing, I start to research. Is this possible?
Yeah.
It seems so plausible, which, hey, hats off to the filmmakers.
Plausibility dies on its arse as soon as the plane gets on the ground. So
Yeah.
You enjoy it while you can.
Well, what better segue can there be than what was the first mistake the film made writing-wise? I think I can feel it coming, Mark.
Yeah, them landing, I suppose.
Yeah.
No, but I don't know if that's fair. I felt so engaged and I felt like the writers were, in my mind, enjoying writing that first part. Maybe Mr. Cumming wrote the first part. Maybe I'm being unfair to him, but I feel the flight section feels well researched, well balanced, and it's done better than a lot of films that were made for a lot more money. And then they land, and it's interesting because the characters kind of look around like, what do we do now? And I really feel like the screenwriters did exactly the fucking same. So you've made your bed quite immaculately, and now you've got out of it, and you don't know what to do. It really does seem like, and I like films that, like Dusk Till Dawn, where you're going in one direction and going in another direction. It can be done.
Yeah.
But you've got to commit to it. You've got to be like, right, let's go. And, it could have been, I was thinking, it could have been Airplane meets Hot Shots Part 2, but with a straight face. That's maybe how they pitched it. I don't know.
Well, then let me ask you. I think this is the crux of this episode, and it's a great writing question. As soon as they land, the movie becomes 400% less interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
The passengers kind of sit around bored throwing peanuts, which is basically how the audience feels. Here's my question to you. Is this a built-up reaction to the hundreds of movies we've seen like this? So the first half of the movie is realistic. And then once they get off the plane, you get into standard movie action territory. Here come the bad guys with their guns. All the heroes have to figure out a way to save the day. So the issues that you and I have, is that because we're expecting the movie to suddenly become less realistic?
Well, you could make it really realistic, but if it's really realistic, it would drag on for months. A lot less dramatic, probably, and it would probably end in those people
becoming bloodstains on the wall.
There were, at one point, a Filipino separatist group that did happen.
Yes.
But then the way it would play out would be a lot of stalemate and discussion and negotiation, and governments would be involved, and they're obviously not going to do that. So then we're going to have to go into cartoony territory, basically. But then they don't do it. The head honcho for the terrorists is a non-entity.
They're all non-entities.
Well, the translator dude, I had a bit of a soft spot for, but I'll call him a vague entity.
Outline.
And also, the film doesn't give a shit about him. Like the way he's filmed, the way, I know you probably want to talk a little bit about the way the film's directed, maybe, but the way he's lit, there's no special music, there's no tension. I wasn't even sure. Oh, is it him? Oh, he's back. Oh, no. Yeah, it's him. That's inexcusable in a film like this. You need to have that proper antagonism.
Yeah.
They just don't do it. I don't know if they couldn't do it, if they didn't want to do it. But yeah, I think you make a really good point. And so maybe it is just a bit jarring and our expectations are not met.
I can't make up my mind if that's because of decades of built up knowledge of, well, here's what's going to happen from here. That movie, United 91, was that directed by Paul Greengrass? I'm not too sure.
The one that's like based on apparently what happened.
Yes.
Yikes, that is a scary film.
Yeah.
That's a film I know a lot of Americans could only watch once. United 93, right?
93. Okay. But it was directed by Greengrass, wasn't it?
It was. Yeah, and Greengrass, he's out of fashion now, but he generally directs in a kinetic way. And
So I wonder if it's a combination of what we're expecting, but also once they're off that plane, why doesn't the camera really go off the rails and get off the tripod and really, really present it as though this shit is real, which I hate to say about shaky cam.
no, I think that's right. I think almost, like Wizard of Oz or something.
Yeah.
Literally, Wizard of Oz is in black and white, and then when they get to Oz, it's in color. I think you could have a better director or a director with more time or whatever it would be, may well have done that. From a writing point of view, I mean, how would you? We'll talk about that later on. But I'm exactly the same as you because I went in not knowing. I was with it and then it fell on its arse. And I think one reason is the passengers are absolute tits. They're horrible, entitled, moany bastards. There's a split second where they're like, yay, you unbelievably saved all of our lives. But it's a split second, followed immediately by, what are we going to do now? I didn't pay $20 to be in a jungle. Sort it out, boy. Oh, yes, of course, I'm still your fucking servant. I'll go and find... I still can't get past that. And that needs to be just... Why have they written those people like that? It's awful. As you say, unless you're going to kill them, you can't write them like that. Because we are built to expect annoying shits get killed. But instead, do they all get away with it? I think, maybe.
Only the hapless married couple gets killed.
Awful. Why them?
Well, it's got to be someone.
And I'm going to mention it now, and I did message you about it, but there's a scene where they're all doing the hostage videos, and there are about 5 of them. And then he's like, right, that's enough. And then they go in, and there's like 12 of them at one point. I think I didn't count, but like there's 5 one point, then there's 12, then there seems to be about 30. Then we're back to 2, and you've got the British fucking annoying British guy, and there's a bald American guy and an annoying British guy. They're the 2 that stand out. Then you've got the couple. The numbers fluctuate. They're obviously not committed to it. So either we just have them as background characters and not really worry about them, or you develop them. This just doesn't do either.
Speed, the movie Speed, there is that asshole guy on the bus. Other characters are like, shut up, man. Can't you see he's driving the bus? And there's a lot of interplay and jokey jokes between the passengers all through that movie. The passengers build up a relationship with Sandra Bullock and Keanu Reeves, and it's a whole thing. But in this movie, that didn't happen. But look, I hate to be that guy. Did you see the Netflix movie Marriage Story?
Yes.
Talk about movies to watch once and once only and put that away.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a good movie, but oof. I saw a lot of easy criticisms like, shouldn't be called Marriage Story, should have been called Divorce Story. I'm sorry, I have to be that guy too. For a movie called Plane, you fucking set it on a plane and you escalate and you escalate and you escalate.
Absolutely.
But you land the plane and then you do the opposite of escalation and you kind of just...
There's a bizarre little flat bit. Yeah, they've landed and that thing is over. Yeah, you wonder, okay, I mean, same as you, I thought, okay, maybe we're going to go into survival. They've got to try and, like one of those Crash in the Andes movies. I watched another one not long ago.
Society of Snow. That's another harrowing film.
Yeah, and then Yellow Jackets is the TV series, which you've got that and you think, right, we're doing that. And then again, it doesn't commit. If you're going to do the terrorism thing, probably land it in a made up place and probably ham it up. But instead, you've got this halfway house and you've got Butler and he's not really, I mean, he is doing things that, of course, he wouldn't be able to do in real life, but not really that much. And the only hint that we've got that he's skilled in any way, in any kind of combat is that the reason he got fired from his previous airline, right?
He choked out a passenger, yeah.
But even then, I mean...
Even then.
I reckon I could probably choke someone out.
I'm sorry to laugh at you, but that's just
probably. So I don't think that really.
You would be frightening choking someone out.
Yeah,
because
well, I mean,
of all the people I would expect to choke me the fuck out, you would be right down the bottom of that list. For you to come at me being like, "I'm gonna choke you," oh, I'm gonna choke you. Well, that's more terrifying than any monster I put in my books.
I would be using that exact voice if I were doing it. But yeah, but you know what I mean. I think this doesn't wink at you at all. And Mike Coulter, who, again, I like him as an actor. I feel a bit sorry for him. He's ended up in something like this. But they build his backstory enough so you could believe that he is able to do some pretty good shooty stuff. But again, there's no commitment to it, really. It really doesn't feel like that's the direction people wanted to go with it, and they've just sort of ended up going with it. It's very strange. It's like a first draft of a maybe first year university screenwriting course. Yeah, and you really do get the feeling that the professor would have been like, yeah, that first bit, but then what happened there? It really feels like that.
Why do you think they made the story choices they did?
I really do wonder.
Here's my theory.
Go on, please.
See if it makes any sense to you, because I could be well off base. Probably am. It feels like they were going for realism through and through. Let's strike fear into the hearts of the audience. But it also could be because Butler was a producer on this one, Gerald Butler, good old Jerry Butler. And he's done, at last count, a bajillion squillion of these things. And maybe he said in his Scottish accent, how about we try things differently? Maybe he was the one saying, I like this project because it's not another White House is getting destroyed movie, or it's not another one man killing 58 bad guys in one scene.
I suspect so, yeah.
It must have been refreshing for him. He's just playing a pilot for pretty much most of the movie. And I think that's really nailed home for what I thought was a very excellent cap to the end of the movie.
Hang on, sorry. You thought it was an excellent cap to the end of the movie. What are we going to talk about that?
Oh, we're talking about the scene. We'll talk about it very shortly, yes.
And I think that's probably true. And maybe we should be a bit kinder, because I said to you, I'd credit him. I think he's giving much more to this than he has any right to do. Maybe because he's invested a bit more, probably literally invested.
I've always liked him. I always like Butler. There's a sense of knowing the man, knowing what you're in for. You see his name in the credits, you know what you're in for. Much like Jason Statham, and I adore Jason Statham. But unfortunately, I think Gerald Butler's a kind of a rung down from Statham.
He is. But I think if Statham was in this, the film would be completely unbalanced. The first bit wouldn't work at all.
But imagine if it was those two, if it was Butler and Statham leading a movie. Oh, I'd have a good time with that.
Oh, I'm going to reference the David Lynch film Lost Highway, where the central character literally changes in the middle of the film. We could have done that. When we landed... Ooh. Wow. He could have just taken his mask off and now it's... Oh, no, not even do that. It's just now Statham. Butler lands the plane. Statham gets off it and everyone just calls Statham the Butler character name. And no one says anything. And it's just like... And then at the last scene, it's back to Butler again. I think that would have been brilliant. Nothing to do with the writing, but...
Maybe this all came from the rating. Like maybe they were trying to go for a soft rating. Like, oh, we can't go for an R rating for this or whatever. Let's try and keep the rating down. Or maybe it was like, hey, let's make a new IP, which actually it has. They're making the movie Ship now as we speak with Mike Coulter. I'm not joking. Don't you fucking laugh. I am not joking.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
In February 2023, it was announced Coulter will reprise his classic role as Louis Gaspard for a sequel titled Ship. While Butler will not star, he may make a cameo appearance.
Speed 1 should have been called Bus and Speed 2 Ship, and they've literally gone, right, plane, ship. I mean, I'm trying to think of I'm not witty enough. I'm trying to think of a joke for what the third one's going to be called.
What are those things on the ice that like a ice skating rink?
I always want to say jabroni, but I think it's called...
I was just going to say jabroni, but it's not jabroni. It's Japaloozy. It's
Jabloozy.
It's something. We're close.
Zamboni.
Yes. Sorry, American mates or Canadian mates.
I went ice skating 2 days ago, which I despised.
You absolute fool. Yeah.
Watching the Zamboni was the highlight of the thing. Yeah, let's do that as the third one. Yeah, let's do that. So again, then you have to think, well, somebody liked this, or it did well enough to wash its face, and somebody thought, yeah, we're on a winner here. The Filipinos didn't think they're on a winner. Let me just briefly...
Oh, this was my favorite thing.
Robin Padilla, Filipino actor and senator, condemned the film's portrayal of the Philippines, pointing out how the film depicted Jolo as being run by separatists and militia, and the Philippine army as cowards. In real life, the jihadist group Abu Sayyaf established the base of operations in Jolo, but were not able to push out the Philippine government's authority in the island. But the Directors Guild of the Philippines opposed the ban because they don't like censorship. And the main reason they oppose it, they said, it's just mindless B-movie entertainment. I think we can all agree upon. But yeah, and I did...
Way to go, Philippines.
Why have they gone Philippines? I mean, I said this to you before. Any experience I've had with Filipino people has been overwhelmingly positive. And I was like, just why there? Why...
Yeah, maybe it's because we're starved. I'm not going to point fingers at the big blockbusters. I'm not going to say that they've squeezed out action. I think it's just a casualty of my favorite genre of Hollywood movie. I call them the mid-budget movies.
Yeah.
You know, your Event Horizons or your The Relic. I don't know why I'm listing horror movies, but those movies with a 30 to 40, maybe $50 million budget, you normally got at least 3 of those a year. And those were the ones that tended to be, oh yeah, that was pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, and to be fair, you're bringing all the hits out today. I probably shouldn't be even talking about this film because I'm not an action person, and I keep referencing Schwarzenegger because I'm not really that. My enjoyment of those films began and ended with that. You know, you are much more of an aficionado of, and we can talk about how Fast and Furious has just inflated the budget of what people expect to a ridiculous degree. So now those mid-budget films, people laugh at them when actually a tightly scripted mid-budget action film could be really cool.
What do you think about this? Let's say you keep the movie as is. Your captain character, you've got your co-pilot. Everything happens that happens in this movie, but the Lewis character, the convict character, as you said before, he doesn't quite reach the heights needed. Basically, that character just reacts and reacts. It's a pretty passive performance. And it feels like they were trying to buck the buddy trend, push against it. But in doing so, they went straight into the blank zone.
Yeah.
But I wonder, you keep the script as is, you keep the actors. I think it's well cast. It's got one of my favorite actresses, Daniella Pineda. I love her.
Yeah.
Oh, she's awesome in everything she does. But how about if you upped Mike Coulter's performance? Like you gave him bigger action scenes, or you gave him an actual joke or two, or you made him have more, here comes the fucking badass.
It's funny because there's that bit where he literally disappears.
Yes.
Butler turns around and he's fucked off.
He's like, do you have a gun? I have a gun. And he's like, fuck.
I will say I quite enjoyed. I thought the scene where Butler's fighting that guy, it's quite grimy. It's quite intense. Like it's not comfortable for anyone where he's duking it out when he's trying to make the phone call. They really did feel like they were struggling to survive. And I find those sequences always very uncomfortable. Again, I'll go back to the film The Beast, which I have recommended more than anyone that's ever been alive. There's a scene in that where people are duking it out. They're not duking it out. They are scrabbling around on the floor trying to survive. And I really, in a better director's hands, that really would have been quite a powerful and upsetting sequence. And where's Coulter? He's just like, I would love it if it just cut to a shot of him just peering through the window.
Fuck that. He's got it.
Because I think the film, at one point, the film maybe was committed to, oh, is he a good guy? Is he going to turn? Is he going to... And then they just stop it. And they're like, nah, he's not doing
Stop
that.
it. Yeah.
So I think either go one way or the other.
We don't care. You don't care.
Yeah, you know, we've seen that loads of times as well. We saw it in the Die Hard film, didn't we? There were about 25 turns.
Yes.
In that film. You don't want to do that, but you could have had that, and you could have given Mike a bit more,
because he's good with more. I mean, I watched all his Luke Cage stuff. He's good, especially if you give him some morality issues, some quandaries, something for him to chew on. He can nail it. He's good.
What was his crime? Lewis's whatever's crime. Did we find out?
The movies made me forget. I think, doesn't the sheriff say the equivalent of like, if you're thinking he's done some bad shit, he's done some bad shit.
Was he in the Foreign Legion? Did I mention that?
He mentions he was in the Foreign Legion.
Right. So he's done something wrong. You watch it and you think, yeah, we said this before, pick a lane.
Yeah.
You can't literally make him disappear. It is really weird. I was like, okay, something will come of this. Not really. He just kind of sneaks back in with a gun a bit later on. You're like, oh.
Well, shit. I guess I'll go fuck myself. Not the stupidest thing I've said all week, to be honest.
Did you hear that? That was a possible answer to a bunch of my upcoming questions during this ad read. So I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions, and your answer is either going to be yes, and then you go and do the thing, or it's going to be no, in which case refer back to what you heard at the beginning of this ad break. Ha ha ha! So, do you have an ebook reader? Okay. Or do you like to read paperback or hardcover books? Okay. Well, my debut novel, Momo and Matsu, The Director's Cut, is available now at whichever Amazon portal you use. at a very reasonable price, I might add. Okay, so far we're on a good roll. Let me ask you some more questions. And again, if at any time your answer's I don't know why you're sounding like a Star Wars character, but if you are, again, refer back to the beginning of this ad break. Ha ha! Do you like kind of paranormal-ish, supernatural-ish shenanigans? Do you like heartwarming stories? Do you like Japan, specifically Tokyo, Japan? Would you like to kind of step in the shoes of a man who's wasted his life and is reluctant to accept his part in all of that? Would you like to find out the mystery of why the ghost of a girl this old man killed not 8 hours earlier is now haunting him? Would you like to meet the Shadow Men? And above all, would you like to maybe shed a tear? Ooh, get hit in the feels. I mean, do people even say that anymore? Wow, again, if the answer's no, refer back to the beginning of this ad read. Ha 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 ha! Seriously, you want to read a book at a cheap price and you want something kind of cute, kind of nice, maybe a bit different than what you've been reading? Hey, Momo and Matsu, the director's cut, written by me, is available. Go check it out. But for now, let's get back to the show. So, does this movie try to add anything to the action genre?
Maybe, as you've suggested, it at one point it was trying to do something a bit different. It was trying to show a little bit more how a more of an everyman would probably try and deal with that.
I would have liked to have seen a lot more with Daniella, just because, again,
Absolutely.
love her as an actress.
100%
And
totally wasted.
the movie presents her as the third kind of character, but then she also kind of disappears. Look, what we have not talked about at all, which tells you either our fault as podcasters, or just the fault of the movie for not really having enough to do with it in the first place, is the fucking airline company staff that we keep cutting back to. Now, this main writer, I don't know who shared more writing or not. Let's just say one of the writers. One of the writers is, as you mentioned, a novelist. And I think this has come across from his work in novels, because if I was reading a novel of this movie, yes, I would be happy cutting away to what the airline people are doing, offering a much larger view of everything. But in a movie, no. I don't want to cut away to a subgroup of people that will not meet the main group of people.
No.
Nothing is offered at all, screenplay-wise, by having them in it, because when the mercs drop down, just have the mercs tell the pilot, we're here from the airline. We got to extract you. Got to do this. You've saved 10 minutes at least from your movie just by eliminating these characters. And you've got Tony Goldwyn. He's a great actor. That's awesome. Always great for some Tony up in here. But the drama is with the people in, around, or far outside the damn plane, not how the airline stock is going to take a fucking hit. That's not your story.
You can do the Die Hard, which is obviously kind of what it's going for. But you've got to have that engagement and that involvement. You've got to have, and you think he's going to go that way because he does make that call, and then that woman literally is like, "Yeah, don't believe you, mate." Beep, and then he almost gets strangled to death.
Which, hey, points for that. This movie has got a lot of little moments. I wish they added more. Like, for example, when they land, Gerald Butler's character, the captain, he goes to check on the dead bodies.
Yeah.
Now, that's a scene that wouldn't happen in a bigger, more, the film that we're wishing it was, the bigger, more action, jokey, whatever the fuck movie, that would not happen. But here it is. He goes, he unzips each of the body bags, and he just sits and looks at them and deals with it. And then he sucks it all up and goes back outside. That is great. There are a bunch of those moments.
Yeah.
I just wish they really added to more. So yes, I actually have to say it does try to add something new to the genre. It is trying to have an action movie. Look at the film's poster. If you go online now and check out the movie's poster, it looks like every other action movie poster you've ever seen. There's Butler kind of looking off to the side with his elbow and a bit of blood on his brow. And you've got Mike Coulter kind of pensive, and you've got a plane in the background. You've got that weird, I don't know why no, I tell you, it was The Dark Knight Returns. The Dark Knight Returns, I think, was the first poster to have embers on it, like flamey ember smoke things. And now every fucking poster that wants to show a semblance of destruction, embers, a lot of embers in the air. I think this movie is trying to do something different. I just don't think it does it successfully, which, hey, points to it for trying, points taken away for not hitting it hard enough.
Yeah, I think that's right. It doesn't hit it hard enough. I think I'd rather have it as a self-contained thing. Do you need the mercenaries? Why are they the kind of good guys? I don't think I've seen a film where the mercenaries are not at least anti-heroes. It's a bit odd that they just, and I expected to turn with that as well, like them just to turn their guns on them and actually be like, you know what, it's better for us if you just died. Like you know, I was kind of thinking that was going to happen, but no, they're high-fiving at the end like it's a fucking Care Bears movie where they're like,
Care Bears movie.
That does happen in Care Bears movies. Was there a need for that? No.
With the mercs, you get your action. Again, it was nice to see. I think only one merc gets killed, or maybe two get injured. Basically, they are very competent mercs. They are easily outgunning the quote-unquote terrorists.
They are.
Again, good to see. Like, oh.
good to know.
I was watching a TV show yesterday where two female characters are having a fist fight, which was, hey, awesome. Always good to see. The problem was, one of the characters was a military person, like they've been trained in the military, and the other person was a politician. That fight should have been over in less than 1 second, but they had this knockdown, drag out fight. And it's like, what are these things that make sense?
I don't remember that scene in Hidden Fortress. Got the special edition.
That's the Redux. Yeah. So I'm used to seeing the movie kind of do the fake legwork to make this action scene happen. And here we've got, this is probably kind of how it would go. Very competent people, stop, reload, check your sight, shoot. Like the guy who has the big gun that just knocks them askance. I love that word, askance.
I'd love that gun.
Just boom. So by the end of it, there's only two fucking bad guys left, kind of cowering in a fucking Jeep, going like, and the plane takes him out. I was like, good.
You reminded me of the film we did before, Skyscraper. Which again, I'm laughing about a lot in retrospect. I think it's better than that. It's more enjoyable than that. And I think a lot more of it works than that. But yeah, I would have been all right with just somehow Butler and Coulter just trying to work it out, just trying to get these people out of where they are.
What do you think about the ending? I'm talking about the last 3 minutes of this picture.
Well, this is the bit I flagged up to you. And actually, you may have answered it earlier because there is that slightly harrowing sequence where he goes and identifies the body. So actually, you've kind of made me realize why it's there. So at the end of the film, all the bad guys are vanquished and they've got to where they needed to go. We're still not quite sure how they fixed the plane, but anyway, they fixed the plane. And then there's a really, well, I felt quite drawn out scene where Butler's walking around the plane. I shouldn't laugh, but he's sort of walking around the plane. He's done his goodbyes. They do them on the plane as if they're never going to see each other again. And then everyone else gets off and does their little celebration outside. And he stays on that plane for a long time and he's looking around and he's obviously quite upset, and rightly so. You know, I think that probably would happen in real life. But because we've had that really badly done, let's be honest, sequence with the terrorists, it's like, was that a holdover from the survival film that they never wrote? And it kind of feels like maybe it is, but to me, it's really jarring and strange. And there's no real sound. And then he gets off and it's still not finished, and he goes down the steps and is still looking sad and weepy, and some of the people he's just said goodbye to kind of side-eye him and then blank him, and then the film ends. And I was like, was that from another film he was filming at the same time, or did another director think we need to quickly do a pickup here because we didn't like the ending before? It's really weird.
I was a big fan of 24, the TV show 24 with Kiefer Sutherland as Jack Bauer, as they said in Japan.
Yeah.
You know, the conceit of 24 is it takes place in real time for these characters over the course of 24 hours. So maybe it was at season 2 or 3 or 4. At the very, very end, the very last, ironically, 3 minutes of this particular season was Jack Bauer sitting in his SUV,
really?
breaking the fuck down and just crying. And his hands are shaking and he's just weeping. That's how they ended that season. And I was like, that was beautiful, because any human to go through 24 hours of shit.
Yeah.
Fucking collapse. So again, it's coming back to what I said. This movie has a lot of really nice little moments. Should that be the way to end this movie? Probably not. Especially how he goes and sits on the steps, calls his daughter his non-existent, non-entity daughter. What'd you say last week? Suspected human daughter. He gets a wee joke off at the end, just to button the movie about him not arriving on time. Or
told you to be fucking late, Dad.
Yeah.
It's again, poor old.
Say it in that accent again. That was great.
Well, yeah, and we didn't even mention the Scottish auntie who's like fluttering around in the background. Is that your father? Shut up, auntie, you old it's just bizarre. A bizarre choice. I can see why they did it, but you've not even. It's worse than Die Hard 2, you know, with wifey making phone calls every now and again to sort of kind of going for that, I guess. But it's not a bad moment in isolation, and it makes sense, as you say and as I say. But at the end of what's just happened, it feels weird. If it had been at the end of the plane crash sequence. I found it really remarkable. I love moments in films that just stand out for being like weird and or affecting or effective when the rest of the film hasn't been. Like I really enjoy those moments. So yeah, it's not a complaint about it. It's just like, how did it end up there?
Good on the film for doing it. Good on the filmmakers for adding it. Much appreciated.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cumming.
Let's move on to the final section of the podcast.
Cool.
What scenes or characters or changes would have made this movie just a little bit better?
I'd rather have a more of a survival based thing. Well, the thing is as well, because we don't really know where we are. I mean, most of us are not particularly familiar with Filipino geography. So it could just be in a case of them needing to get to another island. You could still kind of keep the threat of, hang on a minute, is this that island that's had all those problems? Make it a bit lower key. You could even keep it more historically accurate, have a smaller group of people that are more desperate to hold on to what they've got. And our protagonists are just trying to stay one step ahead of them until they can get to a safe part of the island, or somehow get off the fucking island. I personally think you can write more character-wise. You can be more empathetic as an audience member if you're going through something like that. I think that's another issue, and maybe that's briefly, I would say, you've got quite a lot of empathy with that first third of the film. You can really see yourself there, and then the rest of the film, you really can't, and it doesn't bother trying to make it so you can. So yeah, that's probably, I personally would have rather it had gone in that other direction.
For me, it comes down to one thing, and that's coconut crabs.
Right.
That's it, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us today. Great to have you with it. But no, like coconut crabs are fucking gigantic. Scary as fuck crabs. Yeah. We're pretty sure now that that's what did away with Amelia Earhart, right?
Is it?
Yeah, I watched a documentary where Bob Ballard was trying to find her plane, and they kind of sort of were like, we're pretty sure it's this island. If she did land on that island and she survived for a couple of days, she would have eventually perished, and then the coconut crabs would have come along and taken bits of her away.
I saw one. I'm trying to remember where it was. Probably not that exact species, but I think it was on a little night hike, like a guided night hike. I think it was in Iriomote, which is a southern island of Japan. He was sort of burrowing around, foraging around in the forest. But yeah, you know what? That's not a terrible idea. Make it a fun horror film. Yeah, I quite like that.
Not in that way, which admittedly for me, that would be where I'd lean. But no, just keep giving them real shit to deal with. So they land, they've only got one bottle of water left.
Yeah.
Everything else is salt water. At night, here come the coconut crabs. So everyone, you have to huddle in this one spot. And it's super uncomfortable and super dangerous, because once the captain and the convict go and do that thing, the passengers as characters are kind of just, nah. And the co-pilot is, and the cabin attendants are, why not give them an escalating sense of, oh shit, oh shit. You could still have your bad guys in there, but maybe they try and get away from those bad guys or hide from them, and then just shit keeps getting worse and worse for them.
Yeah.
There's your empathy. It's more meat for the storyline to play with. So let's say the 15 minutes you save by cutting out the airline plot line, you put that in with the passengers having to really fight for their lives, but not in a, oh, they're going to punch out the bad guys kind of way, you know?
I think you had it with coconut crabs. I keep thinking of that found footage. I think it's found footage. I think it's called The Bay, and it's set in Maryland.
Yes. Wasn't that directed by Barry Levinson?
Yes, it was. Very good. Good shout. 20s. Upon seeing that first time, I really enjoyed it. I don't know if I'd enjoy it now, but I really enjoyed it at the time. Yeah, let's do it like that. Let's have them land. If we're going to do a left turn, let's have them land. And then it's like, oh my Christ, this is not where we should have landed.
And you don't have to go full horror. You don't, like, for example, the movie M. Night Shyamalan's Old.
Yeah.
I was very reticent to watch it because I was like, this is going to be grimy and nasty. I don't want to see wounds and sand mixing. Doesn't that sound horrible? Sharp, jagged rocks and wounds and sand. Oh, I don't want that movie. And surprisingly, the movie, while it did have some intense imagery, didn't really go that route for the most part. Shyamalan was very restrained in what he showed. So you could do that same thing with this movie. You don't have to go gritty and nasty like the fucking, what's that movie? The Ruins, where the teenagers get trapped on top of a pyramid with man-eating plants. Spoilers. You could just have, oh shit, this is bad. We've got to solve this. So the first half of the movie, you had that great problem solving with the professionals, the pilots. Why not have fair to average to misguided problem solving from a group of regular schmoes? You can maybe kill off a few passengers that way, or just really, really have like people saving each other.
You could do it as a surprise sequel to the film Old, where they've actually landed on that beach and they're all... Or you could do it as a surprise sequel to Congo, which is a film that I'm desperately trying to get onto this podcast, but can't find where to stream it. So you'd have Tim Curry reprising his role, which we need to do something involving Tim Curry, obviously. But then it couldn't be a mid-film, could it? He's elevated everything he's been in.
Everything. I would love to do Congo. Yep. I read the book for that too, actually. Yeah.
And did you?
That was my Crichton phase.
Yeah, possibly your crisis phase as well. I think...
Yeah, we're both of the same opinion that you can have mostly the same structure what you've got now, but whether you stay on the plane and you just keep escalating, or you do have your landing and then things get worse and worse, it'd be nice to see nature being worse than the bad guys. Like, it'd be great. I would stand up and cheer if the passengers have been going through fucking hell. Then the bad guys come and yeah, they do want to ransom these people off, but they're not fucking monsters. And they actually help out the passengers somewhat. Like, they're like, oh no, you're going to come with us. We will ransom you, but promise it's going to be a lot less worse than fucking coconut crabs.
I think it avoids angering the good people of the Philippines as well.
That too.
Always a good thing.
And with that, let's wrap this up. Look, I think the best thing to be said about this movie, Plane, is actually the very first line you come across on the Wikipedia article sums up this movie, for me, perfectly. Not to be confused with Planes film. Planes is the 2013 American animated sports comedy film produced by Disney Toon Studios from the Pixar Cars franchise. Certainly, when I am scouring the internet for information on a Jerry Butler movie, I want to know about Planes.
It's funny, isn't it? Because they've done the same thing. Coulter's sequel is going to be another mode of transport, but singular. So we've gone from plane to boat. Was it boat or ship?
Ship.
Ship is a risky title, isn't it?
I actually like the title, Plane. Ship. You just can't help but fucking laugh because hopefully they get the trailer voice guy to be like, ship.
Yeah. Well, the review writes itself, doesn't it?
What are we going to do? There's a bomb. Who are we going to get? The convict. What's going to happen? Ship.
We're in trouble.
I wonder, because everyone is beholden to James Cameron. And so it's the thing to do when you have your sequel to be just adding an S on things. Does the Plane franchise, are they like, we can't do planes? It's for the better because now the world's going to get ship.
Oh, shit.
This movie, they tried something kind of sort of different. I'll happily take more of these movies than Bird Box.
I preferred Skyscraper. I massively preferred it to Baywatch.
There we go. Sorry, The Rock. We'll see you next time, everyone. Have a great week or weekend, whatever you're doing. Have a great one. Be safe, and we'll catch you for the next one.
Be safe. What's going to happen?
Well, if you get on a plane, Mark, don't go near the fucking Philippines. I'm telling you now, because it's either that or coconut crabs.
I'm going for coconut crabs.
Ship. Thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate it. If you want to support the show, the best way to do such an awesome thing is to rate and review us on whatever podcast platform you're using. Yes, smash those 5 stars like your life depended on it. And write a review, some charming and cheeky review that Mark and I will read on air in one of our next podcasts. And we will mock the living crap out of you. But it's fun. It's a jokey buddy kind of mocking. Don't worry about it. Don't think about it. Just go and put that review in there and coerce all your friends to do the same. You can find us on Instagram at WrittenOffPod. Go on, jump on there, leave a comment, and you can find me at Brad_is_writing. As for Mark, not available on the social media. Now, for our next episode, we're tackling a movie that I was looking forward to. We're tackling Stephen King's The Stand. Now, as you mates know, I'm a big Stephen King stan. I've read a whole bunch of his books, and for sure, I've read The Stand. And if you've been listening along, then you've heard that Mark has been reading The Stand as well. So what actually happened is he read The Stand book to prepare for the movie. And of course, we're talking about the recent movie, not the original Tobe Hooper version. So what did he think? What did I think? Well, have a wee listen.
I think the book, again, maybe to do with my age, but I wonder how I'd have felt when I was a teenager. See, I'm maybe cancelling out my own argument here because when I was a teenager, you read it. You read it when you were young, right? So,
Yep.
Who did you relate to in the story when you were young? Which characters?
Ben, because maybe because I'm stupid, but Ben is the lead. And you spend the most time with Ben. So I feel like, well, I'm being told this guy's the important one, so I'll follow him. I mean,
good to know you're so susceptible, Brad. Okay.
I am incredibly susceptible, yeah. It's gonna be a good one. But until then, as always, stay safe, no matter what Mark says, and grab a slice. Written Off is hosted by me, Bradley Freeman, and Mark Tasker. It's produced by the both of us, and it's edited by me. Our theme music is by Skane, and our artwork is by Sketchfro. This has been a Pugnacious Podcast production.